So let's talk about your time at Oddworld. You get there, and you said that was you went in during Munch. Is that right?
Yes.
What point of development was it in when you joined the company?
At that point, all they really had was they had a little bit of cinematics, very, very little. It wasn't even a cinematic that ended up being in the game. They had that cinematic of all the Gabbits running around, and then there was a net, but we had to redo it. Like the one that you see in the game is not the one that they were showing at E3. And at E3, they were also showing some game beats that never made it to the game either. This is before the game became the game that Munch was. These were some story beats that were actually, it looked like it was game animation, but it was more like, this is what we want the gameplay to be.
Okay.
And the game evolved from that a lot. But yeah, there was the idea. Lorne had the story already, like the story beats blocked out. And we knew what the gameplay wanted to be to in a rough degree. But yeah, mostly it was just the story beats. We had some really good story beats.
Okay.
The cinematics, when I first joined, we were and again, I joined the team that was already working, right? I learned I learned a lot of things under great people. Like Christophe Chavarot was the technical director, and he taught me so much stuff. And he was a tough teacher, man. Everybody that worked with Christophe, he knows he was tough love, but I have tons of respect for that guy. I worked with Scott Easley, that he taught me a lot about animation and rigging. Yeah, a lot of those veteran guys were very instrumental of like setting me up for success at Oddworld. And yeah, I think one of the first things I worked on was the Viker pharmaceutical sign that is flickering. So back then I started as a junior technical director, which sounds like junior technical director sounds like a really nice title. But it really meant that I was doing what nobody else wanted to do. Right. So, but yeah, I did that flickering Viker pharmaceutical sign. I modeled, textured, and animated the lights and created like the set-driven keys to get everything to just work together. And it was actually really fun. And from there, I just started working a little bit more on different things. The second shot that I worked was the choreography of that shot with all the Gabbits swimming around. And a few weeks, I think within a month or something like that, that I was there, one of the animators that was working there quit. And there was an animator opening, and they asked me, like, hey, listen, would you like to become an animator? Like, I know right now you're doing a lot of like all these different things, amongst them animation, but we like your animation. Would you like to become an animator? And I said yes, and I became an animator at Oddworld. At that time, I started doing less of the modeling, less of the texturing that I still really enjoyed, but I started doing more animation and rigging, and that's basically what changed everything, right? Like afterwards, I just started doing more and more animation. And working in the cinematic team was really good. I think that the cinematic department was a really special place at Oddworld. We had a really good group of people, and it was also like, I don't know, man. I think that because both Lorne and Sherry were come from the movie industry, like you could tell that it was also kind of like their pride and joy, their cinematic department. So even though they loved the entire company equally, we felt like the love quite a bit with cinematic. So it was really awesome.
Yeah, well, I know for Lorne, or for both of them, I think that one of the main reasons they moved into games was so they had more creative control over what they were creating, right? So
correct. I think so.
Yeah, and that being able to that's. All of us have kind of a part of the process that is dearest to us, right? So I think it totally makes sense that was a thing that they wanted to make sure was, up to, the standard that they had kind of worked with.